Maintenant, tout le monde semble y être. On va pouvoir commencer. Alors, je m'appelle Catherine Rollet, animatrice, chroniqueuse, ancienne journaliste culturelle. Ça me fait plaisir d'être avec vous aujourd'hui, en fait, pour aujourd'hui et les 2 prochains jours. Donc, pour animer ce colloque et pour, en fait, s'assurer le bon déroulement des travaux et aussi respecter cet horaire serré, mais ma foi, qui me semble vraiment très intéressant par tous les thèmes qui sont abordés. Alors, avant de procéder à l'ouverture officielle de ce colloque, peut-être quelques petites informations. Je tiens à m'assurer que vous êtes tous en mesure de bien suivre ce qui sera dit sur la scène, donc que vous avez bien les écouteurs, puisque les conférenciers pourront faire leur présentation soit en français ou en anglais. Donc, un service d'interprétation simultanée qui est disponible. Si vous n'avez pas encore d'écouteurs, empressez-vous d'aller en chercher à l'entrée de la salle. If you don't understand French, headphones are available at the entrance of the room because we provide simultaneous translation. D'ailleurs, si vous voulez intervenir pendant les panels, il est important de le faire au micro. Donc, il y en a un juste là.
If you have questions or comments, please use the microphones because we want to make sure that all the attendants can hear your questions and your questions and comments will be translated. I also have to let you know that the presentations will be broadcasted on the web. Therefore, we have asked you to sign the personal voice and image recording, fixing, and communication form. If you haven't signed the form, I will ask you to do so during the break. Now, I will proceed to the official opening of the symposium. I would like to invite Mr. Federico Pasin, Secretary General of HEC, André, Director of Business Development at the Chair in Arts Management of HEC, to share a few words with you. Good morning to all.
It's a real pleasure to welcome you to HEC Montreal. Accueillir un tel événement.
Hosting such an event for us is a true pleasure, and it is very consistent with what we are currently experiencing. The digital world has completely transformed the way we provide education today at many levels. In education delivery in classrooms, we have to see how we can use the digital world to make learning more efficient for students, but it also affects what we want to teach, how we want to prepare our youth for the future, and the way digital culture changes what is relevant for our youth today, and that affects us directly. At another level, in research that is, to remain relevant, HEC Montreal has to be interested in what our youth are living today. Our researchers have to look into measuring cultural products. Mathematics, big data are things that are very important for us. That is the way we use information to be more performing in our content and in our way to present this content. Therefore, we are pleased to organize such an event here. Without further ado, I will hand it over to my colleague, André. Thank you. This symposium is very important for us.
Is a UNESCO chair, and we have students coming from all over the world to come to follow our seminars. One of our programs is an international program that we present and produce in collaboration with a university in Texas and Bocconi in Milano. Alors, chez nous, on a plus de 300 étudiants qui étudient en gestion.
There are more than 300 students that study in art management. The work that you do is very important for us. Each day in our marketing classes and our other business courses, we visit the websites of your observatories and your statistical institutes. Continue your work because we rely on your data to study the different situations, but also to make important decisions on cultural policies. François Colbert, who is director of the chair, could not be here today. He wishes you a warm welcome. And before I leave you, I'd like to say one thing about the bathrooms. We had a significant flood a few months ago. Therefore, the women's washroom here is condemned. You'll have to go to the upper floor or the lower floor.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure for me, despite the winter, to actually, that they still there is not really wanting to leave, but it's a warm welcome here in Montreal, in Quebec, and at our home, because the Institute of Statistics of UNESCO has been for a long time hosted here in the University of Montreal. So for us, it's really a pleasure to be here and to welcome you for 3 days that I know that I'm going to be very productive. The Institute has been located from Paris to Montreal by the beginning of the century, so we have a long partnership, and I would like to actually thanks and start by thanking everybody to be here, for thanking the Institute of Statistics of Quebec, that we have a long partnership that really goes back to 2002, and we have been very productive working so far in trying to work in different areas of interest of the Institute and of mandate of the Institute of Statistics of UNESCO. I would like to thank the University of Montreal for hosting, and definitely would like to thank you also, my team, the ones you are going to be seeing around these days, and the ones you don't see that are going to also, has been very instrumental to actually make it happen and have this seminar here. So for us, it's very relevant to go into measuring different areas of mandate of the Institute. The Institute of Statistics of UNESCO is the statistical branch of UNESCO. That is the only UN agency that has the mandate on culture and trying to deal with the framing culture, to try to understand what are the different manifestations of culture and try to measure culture. And this is the business of the Institute, to try to go into, try to define methods, try to go into define what is comparable statistics, and try to generate different frameworks in helping countries and in helping all of us to understand what's going on and how to better serve the understanding of culture and to better serve policymakers at the time of deciding where to invest, how to make a life better for the citizenships, and try to make it a better quality of life for everybody. Since the very first line of the UNESCO Constitution after the Second World War, we really frame and we know the relevance of culture. UNESCO is really having a big agenda on the culture. We have a UNESCO Paris at headquarters. They have a very relevant agenda in different areas of work, and the Institute, that was the statistical branch, works on defining methods and setting protocols and helping to measure and to get involved into the different manifestation of culture. It's a broad area. We are working in trying to set methods. The Institute has different methodologies and have different publications. And so the first area of work of the Institute has to do with setting standards and methods and try to understand the different manifestation of culture and try to actually see it from different point of view. We have frameworks, and we try to measure at the national educational accounts, and we have a framework that has been presented, and we have countries that are already following our contribution in terms of using the methodology and the guidelines for the national satellite accounts. Our team works with countries in trying to incorporate, and we're really having the ambition of getting and working with more countries around the globe. We work in understanding what are the manifestation of culture in different aspects. We really are involved into measuring the manifestation of employment, what are cultural activities and how intense is the activities related to culture. We just come from publishing a treaty on trade and culture and trying to measure the contribution of culture and how it's related to international trade. And you see that you have many economic manifestations also of culture. The measure of heritage and how to measure, how to better treat, how to address, and how to focus on preserving heritage is not only at UNESCO as a whole and the interest of our organization, but in terms of us, it also has been trying to get involved into discussion of the Sustainable Development Goals and try to see how to better instrument, how to better understand the size and the relevance of the preservation of cultural heritage. We know that information is needed for a better quality of life, but it's also needed for policy making. We have the need to actually produce data to inform better decisions, and for this reason, the Institute of Statistics of UNESCO has been leading for UNESCO actually the negotiation of many of the Sustainable Development Goals. The areas of mandate of the Institute are education, culture, science, and communication, and culture. And we have been involved in coordinating SDG 4, that is the goal related to education. We have been involved in science and culture through one of the targets, that is 11.4 specifically, because culture doesn't have a target, but is along in measuring other of the targets in different goals. And we have also been instrumental to have indicators in science in goal 9, but we're also involved into some other indicators in different areas that we have been hidden for UNESCO, the definition and the statistics for these sustainable development goals. We know we have to work in partnership. We don't fully understand many of the aspects as society develops and new phenomena are happening. We're really trying to measure and have some dimensions. We know that it's a very complex area of work, and we know that whatever we can measure is a very reduced and not really properly reflecting the relevance of culture, but still we know that some of the contributions we're making are going to make us understand better, and we're going to be informing policymakers. We know that we need to work with state and non-stakeholders. We know that the relevance of partnership for understanding. We know that only sharing concepts, sharing knowledge, and trying to understand what's going on and trying to learn from the other is the only way to actually come and come with conclusions, with solutions, and with a better understanding of these different cultural manifestations, including the digital culture and how to measure. In our different framing, we are really facing the challenge of seeing how we are incorporate these different, very dynamic manifestation of culture. We have different kind of proposals and concrete products related to measure, and we know we need to better learn and to better understand what's going on. And in that sense, we know that these 3 days are going to be very relevant for us to understand and to try to improve and to try to move forward in terms of adapting and incorporating some of these new areas of work into our frameworks. So I just want to reiterate my warm welcome to the activities and wish you the very 3 productive days, and hope to look forward to work together with all of you. Thank you.
Merci, Madame Montoya.
Thank you, Ms. Montoya. I'd now like to invite Mr. Stéphane Mercier, Director General of the Institut de la statistique du Québec. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning and welcome.
I'm pleased to be here with you today and to welcome you for this very important symposium. You have all left aside your daily work and postponed your commitments to register and take part in a collective reflection on a topic that might seem dry for some people. Taking part in an international symposium on the measurement of digital cultural products is an interesting idea. We decided to gather international researchers, government advisors, as well as business representatives and association representatives to talk about an important challenge today. What do we really know about the supply and demand of digital cultural products in a world in which the digital realm has transformed everything in the chain of supply, with a significant impact on consumption of culture? The Institut de statistique du Québec has the mission of producing, analyzing, and disseminating official statistics that are unbiased and of high quality for Quebec, to enrich our knowledge, to support debates, and to guide decision-making for the different stakeholders in Quebec society. The Institute plays its role by taking this initiative of organizing a symposium on cultural statistics. We acknowledge the importance of communication and culture in our modern societies. It is of the utmost importance to follow the evolution, specifically in this era of major shifts in practice. Your reflection on producing statistics in the sector of culture and communication can inspire other sectors of the economy. It is essential to have the appropriate tools to deliver relevant public statistics that are reliable and of high quality. In fact, the challenge for cultural statistics also applied to other economic sectors. E-commerce, international trade of dematerialized products are all part of statistical challenges. As official statistical agency, we have a commitment to this need for knowledge. Today, our tools must be based on the digital world. We have to have the means to analyze the information in these tremendous databases to make sure that big data doesn't look like a bottomless pit for public statistics. I'd like to thank our partners from the UNESCO Institute for Statistics that recognized the importance of this topic. Thank you, Mrs. Silvia Montoya and Lydia Dulumo, as well as Mr. Jose Pessoa, for your commitment. That is a true example of an inspiring collaboration between international and international agencies, and I wanted to point this out. Before I leave the stage, allow me to thank my team, more specifically, Mr. Dominique Jutras, Director of the Observatoire de la Culture et des Communications, who has greatly contributed to this large-scale international project. Finally, I have heartfelt thanks for the speakers who will present your reflections to contribute to the evolution of knowledge. I'd like to thank you one and all for the confidence that you have entrusted in us. I am looking forward to hear your conclusions and to be inspired by your presentations to feed our actions. Thank you and have a great symposium.
Merci, Monsieur Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mercier. I'd also like to thank the Institut de statistique du Québec that plays its role in producing high-quality statistics. The symposium organizers would like to thank the sponsors, the Government of Quebec, and more specifically, the Ministère de la Culture et des Communications, la Chaire de gestion des arts, Carmel et Raymond Marcoux, HEC Montréal, the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie, Telefilm Canada, the Canadian Commission for UNESCO, as well as Heritage Canada. Also, our financial partners, we'd like to thank BNQ, the Conseil des arts et des lettres du Québec, la Régie du cinéma, and la Régie du développement des entreprises culturelles. Since we will be spending 3 days together, I have a few logistic points for you. Each morning, we'll have a 20-minute break that we ask you to respect carefully. Refreshments will be served outside the room on the right, where coffee and Danishes were served this morning. Tomorrow morning, a light breakfast will be served, as well as on Wednesday. At 12:30, lunch will be served in the same room. It will be an interesting opportunity to continue your discussions, since we will have 90 minutes for lunch. You can have lunch in the atrium, where the speakers can continue the discussions. Tonight, we have a cocktail at the Canadian Centre for Architecture. We will be leaving the building here at 5 p.m. for the cocktail. The speakers will speak under different formats. There will be academic presentations, but also discussion panels formed by experts who will explain their point of view in a few minutes, and we will have a discussion facilitated by a facilitator. We ask the facilitators to keep enough time after each session to have time for questions and comments with people in the room. If you have questions or comments, if you would like to take part in the discussion, please use the microphones. Each session will have a different moderator. Their responsibility will be to present the speakers and facilitate the discussions. Please respect the time allocated for your presentations to be fair to all the presenters. That leads us to the performance part of the symposium. If you exceed the time allocated to your presentation, I will come next to you and I will start singing as an opera singer. I hope that no one has to go through this because this might affect your eardrums. So if you see me walking towards the stage, it is time to finish your presentation. As you have noticed, our schedule is very hectic, and we cannot be late because we have a cocktail at 5 p.m. You are now warned.